In this video, I'm going to be backing up my website. I'm going to show you a free plugin you could download for your website. So here we go. The first time I'm backing up my site, we're going to go under plugins to add new. And I've been using this plugin called Updraft. And basically it's called Updraft Plus, but it's just a simple backup plugin. So here it is, Updraft Plus WordPress backup plugin. 2 million active installs. They updated it 2 weeks ago. It's compatible with the current version of WordPress, so it's a good plugin. The developers, they keep it up to date with everything. So we can go ahead and install now, and it backs up to the cloud. So if you've got a Dropbox or a Google Drive account or another cloud platform you could back up to, then that's a way to easily keep your website secure and backed up, so that if for some reason it got hacked or you screwed something up when you were messing with the design of the website, then it's backed up. So let's go ahead and click press here just to humor this button to see what happens. So it's going to bring you in. You've got these different tabs here we're going to be in and out of. You can go ahead and click backup now to create your first backup, and then it's going to go ahead and deposit a couple links here that you can download those backups to your computer to store. However, we want to go ahead and sync it with our Dropbox or our Google Drive account. So let's go into settings. So here's where we can tell it how we want to back up. So files and database are two different sets of things. Your database is basically behind the scenes techie stuff that it connects with your website server, your hosting company, so like SiteGround in our case. And then our files would be like all of our WordPress folders. So whenever we look into our files inside of SiteGround, you'll see all your plugin files, all your blog posts, all your page files, pretty much everything that has to do with WordPress. So those are two separate zip folders that will zip up and back up. So I prefer to do database daily. So we want to do manual. We want to set this to daily. So every day our database will back up, and then it retains up to 2 scheduled backups. So we can go ahead and do that. So basically, today's and yesterday's will be retained, and then any before that, will be deleted. File backup, again, I like to do this one either daily or weekly. If you're making tons of changes to your website all the time, you should probably do daily. Like in my case, since I'm pumping out a blog post a day. However, if you're not putting out much content and you're not making many changes, you could get by with the weekly. But I'm going to do daily since, I don't want a week's worth of content to be lost if something happened to my site. And I'm going to leave that at 2 as well. So it keeps at least 2 scheduled backups. That way we're not keeping too many of them. We just want a couple at least. Next, we can choose our storage. So first you want to go ahead and probably save, because the next step's going to cause a little pop-up to happen. So choose your remote storage. So we can just tap one of these. So again, depending on who you currently use, you've got Amazon, we've got Dropbox, we've got Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. I personally have Dropbox and Google Drive. I think Dropbox is a lot simpler to set up than Google Drive. So I'm just going to go ahead and use Dropbox. Alright, so when we click on Dropbox, it's going to select it. Now what we need to do is just come down here and read what it says. So your site's communications with Dropbox can be encrypted. If you see any errors in encryption, look through expert settings. So all this is good to know. Here we want to find the authenticate with Dropbox. So it says ensure you're logged in to your correct Dropbox account before continuing. Once we are ready to continue, we're going to go ahead and click the save button next, and then it's going to redirect us back here. So all we're doing right now is selecting Dropbox, scrolling down here, and clicking save. And first, before we hit save, we want to make sure that we're signed into our correct Dropbox account, which I should be. But I'm going to go ahead off camera here and just make sure I'm logged into my Dropbox account. Alright, so here I am logged in. As an example, you can see some of my most recent files that were added to my Dropbox are these different backups. So this is just an example of how it'll go. So these are some of my other websites that I'm currently backing up into my Dropbox account. So let's go ahead back here now and click on the Save Changes button. Alright, once you click that, this little pop-up happens. It says that we need to follow this link to authorize our Dropbox account. Alrighty, Updraft would like to access its own folder, so it's going to store it under a folder called apps, called updraftplus.com inside our Dropbox, so we can go ahead and leave that as is. Now we need to choose our account, so I'm going to go ahead and click on one. Alright, to complete setup for Dropbox, press the button below. It'll take you back to our Updraft settings inside of our WordPress site. You'll then be able to send backups to Dropbox. So pretty straightforward there. We're just going to click complete setup, and that's it. So all we did was clicked on the Dropbox selection, went and clicked save changes. It redirected us back to this page where that pop-up happened. We clicked on the link. It took us over then to Dropbox, where all we had to do was click complete setup, and we're good to go. So now we can go ahead and run our first backup by just clicking backup now. It already has our first one scheduled for tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and just click backup now. Only allow this backup to be deleted manually. So we're going to go ahead and leave this unchecked. We want backups to be able to auto delete themselves. So since we're only trying to keep 2 files on notice, then we're going to go ahead and let it auto delete all the extras on its own. So every day when a new backup is done, it'll delete the other one out of the way so that we just have the most recent 2. Alright, so it's going to spend some time backing up. It shouldn't take real long because I don't have that big of a site and I don't have much content yet. So this might only take a couple minutes to back up, but it's going to be... So there we go. It finished running. We can click close. So anytime we come in here to our Updraft, you'll see the most recent backups listed here. You'll see when our next backup's scheduled for, and then you can log into your Dropbox account and you should see those zip files inside Dropbox, which I just saw a minute ago with some of my other websites that are backing up through this Updraft Plus plugin. So that's pretty much the basics of it. If you do decide you want to restore ever, you can come down here and click restore. So if something happened to your website and you need to restore, these are the 2 most recent files, so we can just click restore to restore and things should go back to normal how they are. I'm sure there will be some other settings that pop up beforehand, but it's pretty straightforward there. And if you're going to end up setting this up with another platform under settings instead of Dropbox, like Google Drive, I'm not going to make a video on it, but I'm sure you can find some articles on Google quite quickly that show you the steps of how to connect to your Google Drive account. But it's probably pretty similar to how we just connected to Dropbox, and it should be pretty easy to do. All right, so that's it for this video. Let's move on to our next plugin tutorial.